Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Huntsville. As always, Rob Pipp here on a beautiful Wednesday. The good Lord has graced us with a little canvas out there this morning, some clouds as we look outside the window here of our beautiful downtown square here in Huntsville, Texas. We are broadcasting live from the Elliott's Jewelers broadcast studio, our studio brought to you by Elliott's Jewelers. And here with us, as always, on Wednesdays, our good friends, Mr. and Mrs. Kaye and Rick Boehning of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Welcome in. Good to see y'all. How you doing this morning?
Good. You still got that Z in there.
I did. Well,
Yeah.
I got the Z? I thought I said Montessori Schools.
No, you said Montessori.
Well, that's because I had some water in my mouth. So, Montessori Schools.
It was fine, Rob. I don't know why she's like that.
I did it on purpose to see if you'd catch it. So, welcome in. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, not with a Z. And it's going to be a fun morning here today. A lot going on today. You guys are heading down. I'm heading with you to Houston here in a little bit to receive a very coveted award from the SBA. So excited about that. We'll highlight that a little bit here in a moment. Rick Boehning is not with us today. We have an FBI agent that is here in studio with us. And so it's good to have, security detail now that the show is getting very popular. We have about 400 people outside the window here. We've told them to move away and from the camera view, and Rick is doing a really good job keeping them at bay, keeping things safe and secure here. It is FBI agent Rick, not Rick Boehning. So welcome in, agent. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
I just wanted to know, I don't ever get political on this show, but are you one of the new IRS agents that have been hired? The 80,000.
No, I'm an old guy.
Okay, I didn't think you were because I didn't see any firearms on you. You know, the new agents have firearms. I didn't see you with one, so I assumed you weren't not an IRS agent.
Not today.
Yeah, not today. So, yeah,
Next week.
I told you we're just going to have some fun today on the show. So, we're excited again, Rick and Kaye, and all their support. They are one of our Foundation 5 sponsors. And do you guys, I got to ask real quick, because we haven't even touched base on this in the last, 3 weeks, and I want to say we're on episode 18 already here as we're moving along. We're getting close to a full month of shows, and do you have any openings at Tomorrow's Promise? I haven't asked you that question yet.
Very, very few.
So very few openings. I know that whenever Bridget and I were first here, before we had left and then came back, obviously, but we had Braylon in, and you guys did a phenomenal job. And there was a very slight waiting list because you guys were booked, but we were able to get her in and appreciated that. And so if you need not daycare, because it is not a daycare facility. This is a child educational facility. That's what I like to call it. Not just a child care, but a children's educational facility. Do you like that?
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So a children's educational facility. If you need a place, look, maybe you're working and you've got a lot going on, and you said, you know what, I really want a place to where I feel that my child can just really be cultivated and really can learn and experience all the good things that life has to offer. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools is where you need to be, and give Kaye and Rick a call, and they will definitely take care of you. I can tell you firsthand, compassionate staff do a great job, and for Braylon, being a little one, you know, I talk about all the time about how we read to her, and I really feel like that's helped. But I think having her there during her very early stages also incorporated a lot of what she is learning here today, you know, for us, and how quickly she's advanced.
Yeah, it's amazing what a baby learns. I mean, how much growth. There's some researchers that say 50% of what you've learned, you learn by the age of 1. I go more with what older research says, that 50% of what you know you've learned by the age of 4. But the neurons and the synapses and all that happen in the brain development, so much occurs that first year.
It does. I go with the old adage of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So, you know, after 4 years old, you're an old dog. No, just kidding.
I will also tell you that if you love and care about children and you want to educate them, and maybe you haven't had the opportunity to go to college, we are hiring, and we do have the means through some scholarships and grants for you to start working on your CDA, your associate's degree, and eventually a 4-year college degree for very little cost.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's so important to continue to highlight that, and a good opportunity for folks out there that are looking for work. And Tomorrow's Promise can help you and really connect. And not just a job, but we're talking about a career here. I mean, you guys are growing, expanding. You have the 2 locations, and I know open up the second one here. Not, you know, how long is the second one?
We get to break ground maybe Monday.
What is this? Hold on. Is this breaking news?
This is breaking news.
Hold on. Let me get the breaking news sounder real quick. Hold on. Here we go. That's the breaking news sounder that I have. We'll have to get a new sounder. Breaking news, Kaye. What do you have?
We might actually be able to put a shovel in the ground on Monday.
What's going on Monday? Let us know. What's the breaking news?
We've got a permit to start moving dirt.
For
The third location.
the third location. So the breaking news tomorrow's. Have you guys broke that yet? That you're opening a third location?
Yeah, there's been a sign up.
Okay. Well,
it's been up so long that we have to order a new sign because it kind of fell apart.
It's breaking news here on Good Morning Huntsville. Third location, Tomorrow's Promise, opening up very soon. Where's that location going to be at?
Right across from the mall.
Awesome.
The old mall.
Wow. That is incredible to think about the journey from you guys starting 1, building 2, and now the third one opening up. What is the third location going to serve? Just
same ages.
Just the same ages, just need
Just
more
on the
room
other side of the road.
That is great.
Or the other side of the freeway.
The name of it is Tomorrow's Promise Academy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Sadly,
Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Academy.
sorry, I messed up. Sadly, the people at Academy think that a lot of people driving by, I think that the Academy store is moving there. We know some people that work there, and are we moving?
That's great. That's okay. That's a good, it's good marketing. So
We know the sign's working because they keep asking Academy if they're moving locations.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. It's funny. I remember growing up, and when I first had my IT business back in Central Texas, a very dear friend of mine that unfortunately had passed away many years ago. She had a real estate business it was Marcy Urban, wonderful lady, miss her dearly. And the real estate business was called Homes and Land Real Estate. Well, there's a magazine called Homes and Land Magazine. They actually tried to sue her. So they were saying you can't use that name because people thought it was the magazine. She didn't even think. She's like, I didn't even realize about the Homes and Land Magazine. It never even crossed my mind. And when Carl and I had started SHN Sports, which is our sports broadcasting arm, there in the Austin area, and we do a little bit, in this area as well with it. We were actually at a location one night, a little bar in downtown Georgetown, really nice restaurant called Gumbo's. It's unfortunately no longer in business, but they had a bar area, and we were sitting at the bar area. I'll never forget, Carl was to my right, I was in the middle, and there was a random lady to my left. And Carl and I, not to rip one out of Herb Kelleher's story about how he founded Southwest Airlines on a napkin, But Carl and I were thinking about how can we like do our own sports broadcasting business. And we were working for another organization at the time, and they were nice people, but we just had a vision to do a little bit more and to really – it taught me, a lot about culture and how important your people are. And I'll highlight this in a minute, and you guys know this as business owners. But we're writing down on a napkin, and his last name is Schoening, my last name is Hip, and I was like, the Hip Schoening Network. I like the sound of that. Carl goes, I do too. So I wrote down HSN Sports, and the lady kind of looked over at the napkin. She leaned over me and she goes, oh, the Home Shopping Network. And so we immediately changed it to SHN, and that's how the company became into existence. So no Home Shopping Network sports division going on that day. But, I brought up something earlier, and I guess just because we're on this tangent, that I wanted to highlight is, as a business owner, maybe some of you out there today are business owners, and we want to welcome you in, by the way. Welcome into Good Morning Huntsville, and let us know you're out there. We got quite a few folks watching. Nobody chiming in yet, but I know that there are folks watching. So send us comments. Let us know what you're thankful for this morning, and we'll be more than happy to give you a shout-out here on the broadcast as we bring you this show every Monday through Friday from around 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. But in business, I was talking to a group yesterday, a networking group yesterday at lunch, and one thing that I learned in business, and I think it's where a lot of companies fail, and someone out there's like, man, well, you don't be talking about me failing. I'm not talking about you failing your business. I'm just giving a little bit of advice that worked for me, that the customer does not come first. Customer never comes first. Some people are like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Your people come first. The people that work for you come first. And I even take it a step farther, and I never say the people work for me. I say they work with me in business. Because without our employees, as you guys know, we wouldn't be able to have a business. And I know that y'all are very compassionate, and you work hand in hand. I see so much joy out of all the folks that work at Tomorrow's Promise, and always great to see Nicole and Robin, and they're always smiling and doing great things. But it truly is. When you invest in your people, great things happen. And when you invest in your people, all of a sudden that customer service is automatically elevated. And so, internally, customers don't come first. It's your employees. Now on the external image, on the public image, of course, you want to have that image that the customers come first. So don't mishear what I'm saying. But I believed in that. And I think so many times, we're worried as business owners about the bottom line. And in business, I never worried about it. I just, stepped out on faith and said, God's going to provide. I'm not worried about it. And of course, you got to pay your bills. You can't just not pay them and expect everything to be okay. But I just never focused on that. I just said, if I take care of my people first, the customers will be taken care of. And then, money was always kind of the last thing on my mind. And everything always worked out through 14 years of the IT business. And here you guys are opening a third location, rocking and rolling. And it's because of your investment in your people first. And I truly believe that because I've seen it as a customer of Tomorrow's Promise.
We've had a lot of our employees. I've got one employee that's been there 24 years, one that's been there 20 years, several that's been there 12, 13 years, even more, 5 years. And then since we've more than tripled in size, we have a bunch that have been there about a year.
Yeah.
But that's because we grew.
Yeah, and that's good. So, Rick, the journey's been incredible. You've been a part of it.
I have been a part of it.
Have you been voluntold to be a part of it, or did it just kind of mesh in there?
So many times.
Yeah.
I retired from Shell, and I'm not retired. This is what I do now.
Yeah, I saw a bumper sticker one time. You guys will love this. Georgetown is a retirement community. Sun City's out there, and it's 10,000 retirees. That's one of the reasons we had a lot of success in the IT business, because we were cruising out to Sun City all the time, helping folks in their homes, which we loved. But it was funny. I saw a bumper sticker on the back of a car one time. And this guy, the bumper sticker, was old. It looked like an old Chevelle. And the bumper sticker said, "I'm retired." And then it says, "I was tired yesterday, I'm tired today, and I'll be tired again tomorrow." Retired.
Yeah.
So that's the bumper sticker that I have now at 38 years old. I've been retired now since I was 18 when I started my business. I was immediately retired. So anyways, I don't even know where we're going this morning, but having a lot of fun. Jerica joining us. We'll step aside. We'll take a brief break. We do have Christy Atkins. I had a chance to sit down with her yesterday, and Christy Atkins will be joining us for a short segment where she's talking about preferred partners, part of the Huntsville-Walker County Chamber of Commerce. But before that, we're going to step aside. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the color run that just happened here over the weekend at Tomorrow's Promise and the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. So many great things happening in our community, and we'd love for you to chime in this morning. Let us know what you're thankful for. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. This is Good Morning Huntsville. Welcome back at it. We are live here downtown. Good morning, Huntsville. Welcome in. Rob Hipp here alongside Rick and Kaye Boehning of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Thanks for being a part of this program here today. Let us know that you're out there, what you're thankful for. A lot of friends joining us already. Ray Hernandez, president of the Walker County Chamber of Commerce. Tommy Hoke joining us. That's through the Huntsville, Texas News and Events Group. Many others also chiming in across different platforms today. And there's our good friend Jerica, as always, from Fargo, North Dakota. She's going to be moving here soon enough because she watches this show every single morning. And Jerica, we appreciate you very much. So thanks for chiming in as well. More friends joining us this morning as Justin Killingsworth. He is in the News and Events Group. It says Facebook user, but it is Justin. Good morning to you, my friend. And, man, we're thinking of you, Justin. We love you and your family very much and always have you in our prayers, my friend. And also this morning, how about Sally Hosey joining us as well? Sally chiming in this morning saying, good morning, Huntsville. Have a great day. She is on the tourism board with the city and proud to serve with her as I came back onto that as well. And the mayor of Broniger last night, in fact, was recognizing several organizations and very appreciative of him recognizing and making a proclamation for Tourism Week here in Huntsville. And so, I mean, it's just all these great things. And every single show, I mean, we're through, 18 episodes, and the word great comes into every single show. Breaking,
because this is the best place to live.
It is, that's right. And more breaking news here coming in right now. I don't know if folks can hear this. I need to get a new breaking news sound. More breaking news. If you joined us earlier, we did have an FBI agent with us. A black van came, and after they heard the comments about the IRS, grabbed this guy by the tie, snagged him out, and they dropped Rick Boehning back off. So Rick is with us. Kaye informed us of that a little bit ago. So welcome back, Rick. Good to have you back on the show.
It's good to be here. I don't know who that guy was, but I'm glad he's gone.
Man, that thing rolled up, squealed. There's still black tire marks, and, I mean, there was smoke coming off, and that was the end of that story. So welcome in, Rick.
If it was only so easy.
Yeah, if it was.
Wow.
Well, hey, we're here
Can
today.
you feel the love?
Hey, and you know what else we mentioned off camera before we got started this morning? This is the first, and it took me a while to process once you guys said it. This is the first time y'all haven't dressed alike that I've ever seen you.
Don't adjust your devices. This is the way it's supposed to be today.
I just adjusted. I zoomed in on you guys. This is two different outfits. This is more breaking news. We've already had 3 breaking news segments here on Good Morning Huntsville. But you'll see there as Rick and Kaye normally always wearing the Tomorrow's Promise shirts.
He tried to wear a match tie.
Yeah.
I got as close as I could.
But even when we're not wearing our matching Tomorrow's Promise shirts, we have matching other shirts. We have matching Hawaiian shirts. I have a matching Hawaiian dress to his shirt when we go on vacation, and we are always dressed alike.
Man,
Except for today.
And it's his fault.
Let's say, do you like? Are you Rick saying like we have to dress alike when we go out today?
No, tell him the story.
Is there a backstory
Yes,
to this?
there's a
All right,
backstory.
is this public?
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
enlighten? Okay,
You came up with the idea.
let's tell the backstory.
Many years ago, because we're still young, but we've been married a while.
Right after we got married.
I came home with matching shirts from Walmart and said, honey, let's annoy the children. Well, it worked well.
Very well.
So we started doing it a lot.
Was it some corny shirts with some sort of like, Mama
No,
Bear,
it was
Papa
just-
Bear, that kind of stuff?
No, it was just a
Just a
I don't
regular.
know if
Yeah.
it was a Minion shirt or something. It was some random cute shirt that he's like, oh, let's get 2 and let's annoy the children. And it worked so well that from that on, it was game on every day, every
And
time we
now
went somewhere.
The children have moved out, so now we just annoy the world.
Well, it's became a trademark. And by the way, if you don't know the Boehnings, come to the Huntsville-Walker County Chamber of Commerce. There's always events going on, and you will get to know this delightful couple. And they do not annoy people in public. Maybe their family and their kids, but they don't annoy us in public. So, throw that disclaimer out.
I appreciate that, Rob.
Yeah.
We probably need a disclaimer.
Well, this community is full of so many wonderful people, such as Rick and Kaye. It is all about lifting up others. And speaking of which, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I say the word opportunity a lot because there is so much opportunity here. But I didn't realize until, even though I've known you guys for going on close to 3-4 years now, that I didn't realize that I could sign up for books for Braylon. And you educated me on that just a couple of weeks ago. You said, you can sign Braylon up for this. And so the color run just happening on Saturday. Had a chance to go out to my first one. It was beautiful. A lot of folks showed up. And my favorite part was right at the start line that all the color got thrown into the air. Kaye, let us know a little bit about the event and how it went this year.
We raised about $7,600 So we've funded for 300 children to get books for a year. Had a few of other events going on this year that were kind of competing for all of our runners. So attendance was about the same as last year, but we are looking forward to it growing next year. It will be the first weekend in May next year, so that should help not be so close to some of the other events that are going on. Just a lot of fun. Rick and I always dress up for the occasion.
Yeah, we're showing some photos here now that I took while I was out there.
And that would be the Rick's daughter and her husband and the grandchildren.
Yeah, and that is Rick there, by the way, with the hairdo there. I was hoping you'd bring that on the show this morning, Rick. You know, that would be like a really awesome IRS agent look with the glasses, that hair, and the suit. I mean, that is what our IRS agents really need to look like to bring a little humor to a very serious organization.
Well, you know, they probably do need to laugh once in a while.
They do. So looking at some more pictures, Dr. Scott Shepard was there. Our superintendent of HISD is the honorary color thrower. He had a great time.
Oh, he had a fun throwing color on people. That was a lot of fun.
So that was neat to see him. There is Dr. Shepard again and some man in the middle. I believe that's Rick there in the middle. And folks just were kind of getting lined up. Now, these photos right here, I was there, a little bit early, and so there were a lot more folks there than you're seeing in the photo here, but they were just kind of getting set up, getting started. A lot of great folks. Elliott's Jewelers, our studio sponsor here. He was the main headline sponsor for you guys. Tom Fullery's also a big sponsor, and so many other people. I made sure that I took a picture to highlight all those sponsors as well and appreciate their support. Without the support of the business community, organizations and events like this wouldn't exist.
Yeah, the businesses were really very supportive this year. The neat thing about the T-shirts are they are in color, and so your logo doesn't get lost among everybody else's when it's all black.
I love seeing this too, and I saw Greg Smith was out there, in attendance of the event, and appreciate all that he does. Walker County Federal Credit Union is on the shirt as a sponsor. The Color Bar is on the shirt as a sponsor. All those folks, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home that I mentioned. And what's great about that, I see these sponsors, and 3 of those are also Foundation 5 sponsors here on Hello Huntsville to make this program possible. And without the support, and you guys, obviously, we wouldn't be able to bring you the show. And Guardian Defense and Jason Thompson, who joins us every Tuesday, to highlight organizations like Tomorrow's Promise and the 5K Color Run. So I really appreciate the support of the community coming out. Some kiddos there that were showing up, and I love the shirts this year. Do those change every year? Is it like a new design?
It's always the footprint. Sometimes we change the color on the front, so it's different. This was a different color this year than the previous years. This year we added the bubbles, and that was a huge success.
Yeah, I saw that. That was neat. Just all the bubbles that were going around everywhere, and kids were having fun running around popping them. And I saw a lot of mamas and daddies showing up that had strollers, and Bridget was like, "Man, I should have went." I said, "Yes, you should have." But we had that morning, we had actually had to get down to, so I didn't get to crawl. You said you could crawl, run, or walk. I was planning on crawling, by the way. Can't run or really walk too well, so I was going to crawl. But I did not get to do that because we had to leave early. I was only there for the first 15, 30 minutes or so because we had to get down to, what is that, Splendora for New Waverly softball that day. But still made it out there. There's Robin and her brother, also Val. Not sure the lady is on the left.
That's her sister-in-law.
Okay, so her sister-in-law is there, yeah. So that's great. And Robin there in the middle works at Tomorrow's Promise. Great to see her. Val there has Bonnie's Hideout. And just some more photos of folks. There's the bubbles and the kids having fun there. And there was a lot of little kids, too, that were running around popping them. And so it's just great to highlight those. You had a DJ out there, a photographer. Mr. Pix, I've never seen that guy before. There was this big, tall guy that was dressed up in this, like, Willy Wonka suit walking around taking photos. And I was like, who's that? They're like, that's Mr. Pix.
He goes to a lot of events.
Never have seen him, no.
Oh, my. He's been to a lot of our events.
Yeah, so I enjoyed seeing him. I don't know if I got a photo of him. I think I did. And there's Kaye there, and things kind of getting started talking. So another shot, Nicole down there on the right. So a lot of people coming out. There he is, Mr. Pix. Mr. Pix, Mr. Pix. I don't know why that song stuck in my head, but he was there. He was having fun. Dr. Shepard spoke for a few moments just talking about the impact of literacy. And, of course, Elliott's Jewelers, I mentioned him earlier. There's the Dolly Parton sign that was there, and you guys had a booth set up. Oh, you had your booth set up at your own event. Of course, you need to have that. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral. I got to mention this real quick. Bridget even said, she's like, they have a casket full of water. I said, yeah, and that thing is also, if I'm not mistaken, a boom box.
Yeah, it's a big sound system.
So I think it's pretty cool that, you know what, you can celebrate life, and also in order to stay alive, you got to hydrate yourself. And Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home bringing the water and all that.
I asked Greg that when it's my time, could I have that particular casket?
and like put a battery in there that'll last a couple of years. Yeah. So when people walk over you, they feel the ground vibrating. Put some, we need some real good bass coming out of that bad boy, so we'll know that it's. I always say the dash on the tombstone is like your legacy. Yours will be that booming coming from the ground. That'll be Rick's legacy. Actually,
he wants a crank put at the bottom of the casket so you can crank it and it plays Pop Goes the Weasel.
Oh, man. I don't know if we'll have that. And Greg, if you're able to do that, I mean, we may be onto a new business venture here. Maybe I'll join you in that one. So we don't need any Pop Goes the Weasel caskets going on.
Rob, if you'd like, next year we'll get a Rob-sized stroller and I'll push you to the race. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds right. Justin, by the way, Killensworth chimed in earlier. He said, I told you we should have got the matching tie. So
we couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Justin was with us when we picked out her outfit.
Okay. Well, Justin said we should have got the matching tie. Greg Smith chiming in earlier saying, good morning, Huntsville. It's going to be a great day. You are 100% right, my friend. Garrick Long join us. Good morning, Garrick. Good to hear from you. Chiming in with a little sunshine emoji bringing it to you. And then also our friend Nelson Amaya as well. Appreciate you, Nelson, and all your support in the community. Nelson also very involved in supporting a lot of local events as well. So great. The color run went well. Next year, good Lord. My dad's phrase was always, the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise. There was another phrase he used, too, that I can't ever repeat live on air. We won't repeat that one. But, next year, hoping to be there at the event again. And, if baseball's going on or something, of course, we'll have to head out early. But looking forward to it. And, it's a great opportunity for kids because this event and that money raised goes to help support the shipping costs of these books.
And it's really interesting because the event also generates a spike in the number of enrollments. So when I was approving Braylon's application, there was about 25 enrollments.
So it was. See, I thought it was. At first, I got a rejection email that came back, and it was Kaye, and it was like, and then I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But it was a simple process, by the way.
Yeah.
And I wanted to educate folks on that because you go. What is you just go to run? Is it the Dolly Parton's Imaginary?
Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
I'm going to put this link up here, Kaye, if that's okay, because it is so simple, and I didn't realize this. And what will happen? Let us know about the process. How many books do the children receive? What age group is it open to? Just so we can let folks know, as I was educated on this, we'll let them know out there, and I'll put the link up for them.
Yeah, so on the website there you see check availability, and you go to Walker County.
Let me pop this back up on the screen so folks can see it as well. I'm going to go ahead and put this back up here. So if you go to imaginationlibrary.com, and this is if you got little kiddos, and that you want them to receive books, this is where you go. Again, it is the imaginationlibrary.com. Just go to the website, check availability. And when you pull up that, it'll say, United States. Obviously, we're in the U.S. You put in your zip code, 77340. That's going to take us down to Texas. You'll see Huntsville in there, Walker County. Check. And here's the cool thing. It says congratulations. And do you know why it says congratulations? Because Kaye and Rick Boehning have made this program possible here in Walker County. So thanks to you guys, that is available here in this county.
We've been doing it for 5 years.
And it is awesome. And so you just go on there, fill it out. What age group is it open to?
From the day you're born, the day the baby's born, you can go in with the birth date and sign your child up, and in about 8 weeks, you'll start getting your very first book until the child turns 5.
That is amazing. I'm putting the link right there. Make sure that you go there. Check it out, imaginationlibrary.com. Click on check availability. If you're on the stream, you can go ahead and click that link. It'll take you right to it. Pop in the zip code. And if you've got a youngster that is on the way, and once that child is born, you can register them. You can sign them up all the way through 5 years old. And it's a book a month. Is this correct?
A book a month.
That's 60 books.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the neat thing is, no matter what your income, because I can go in and look, and we've got the books going everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But when they first go to school, if the teacher has a book on the desk that says, like The Little Engine That Could is the book that gets mailed out first to everyone. if that book's on the desk, on the teacher's desk, you walk in and you, oh, I've got that book. Well, little Johnny walks in and says, oh, I've got that book. It doesn't make any difference, their background, what they're wearing, anything. They've got a friend. And then it helps the teacher because the children all have had the same experiences, having been read to, have common vocabulary and things like that. And so it helps the teacher if everybody's more on the same page than if you've got this one that's never been read to and this one that's got 40 books at home and this one that doesn't have any. It just helps level the playing field so that everybody's rowing more in the same direction than you've got all these people trying to row the boat in different directions.
Yeah, it's kind of like you think like a book club, and that's what a book club does. As adults, they meet up, they talk about one book. It's not like 20 people in a book club are reading 20 different books, Now, some of them may, but I mean, most of them, they say, hey, this month we're going to read this book. And then they talk about it. And I think that's great. So as you take it down to a children's level, it's something that, everybody can kind of share and be a part of that. And by the way, I want to let you know, there's no charge for this.
No,
that's what's amazing
parents
because of
Tomorrow's Promise.
Parents are
never charged.
Never charged. 60 books if you get in right when the baby's born. Take 12 months and 5 years. That's 60 total books that your child can receive up until 5 years old. And it is so important. What are the types of books that the children receive?
The Little Engine That Could, Llama Llama. There's several of those. They're all award-winning books. Dolly pays to have the books published by Penguin Books, and so we don't pay for any of the shipping or the publishing cost. But that's why it takes about 2 months to get the books, because the order's turned in today for Braylon, then the book has to be made, and then the mailing label has to be put on it, and then 4 weeks later the book gets actually mailed. The mail actually delivers it. So that's why it's going to take you about 2 months to get the book.
Now, she's 17 months old, but I don't get 17 back issues because I should have signed up sooner.
No.
Yeah.
You just lost out.
I lost out on 17 books, but the 18th
Well, you moved for a little bit. We won't talk about that, but you moved for a little bit. So you would have lost out unless they had the program up there in the county that you were in.
Gotcha.
Fargo.
Yeah, so, but check your local area. Maybe you're watching. Maybe you're like our friend Jericho who's watching from Fargo, and maybe you know someone that's got a little kiddo on the way and up until 5 years old. Just go to the imaginationlibrary.com, click on check availability, and you can find out more. We'll step aside. Got that interview with Christy Atkins, if that's okay. We'll play it. It's going to be about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll come back on the back end. We'll highlight the big award that's coming up today, if that sounds okay.
Sure.
So we'll step aside. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Christy coming up here on Good Morning Huntsville. Stay with us. We got a lot more to come here this morning. Hey, friends, welcome back into Good Morning Huntsville here through Hello Huntsville. I'm Rob Pipp, as always, and a little special guest for us here this morning as we are welcoming on our good friend, Miss Christy Atkins of Climatic Secure Storage. Christy, good to have you on. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I was excited to join you.
Yeah, well, we got a really awesome program. I already popped your name up there on the screen so people know it's you. And just because it's you and me, I guess, I put on the Huntsville Hornet green there.
There you go. I am a Hornet. I did, yes.
It's important. I wanted to mention that because on this show, we always highlight the good, all the great things that are happening here in our community. And I always especially love talking to folks that are native to Huntsville because I was native to my hometown. Mm-hmm. And you guys have said, okay, it's okay to call this your hometown now, Rob. So I call Huntsville my hometown now. It's not my native hometown. But for you, it is your native hometown. You've been here. What's the journey been like for you here in Huntsville?
It's been pretty cool. Growing up, of course, you take for granted everything in the community and your family and your friends. But as you get older, you appreciate what we have and and what we don't have. But it's been a great journey. I love the community. I love the positivity. It's just, I can't imagine growing up anywhere else.
Did you ever have that feeling growing up? And Elliot, I love you, man. I'm just going to move the Elliot's Jewelers just to the side over here just for a moment because we got a little special angle there. You know, we're bringing you on right there front and center, Christy. But did you ever have moments when you were a youngster saying, like, man, I just can't wait to get out of Huntsville? And then you got out and then you're like, I missed it and I came back. Did that ever happen to you?
Not like a huge degree. I mean, of course, when you're getting through high school and you're wanting to be more independent, there were times that I did like, okay, I need to get out of here. I need to get away from the family. I want my own thing. But I also realized without family, I would not have had the opportunities that I did in college. I actually chose to stay at Sam Houston State University and I rodeoed. And
way.
I did. Yes. I wrote breakaway, or I did back then. I don't anymore, but I was able to stay home and have the horses and have the cattle, and I wouldn't have been able to do that anywhere else because it would have cost me a whole lot more. So
what did you do in rodeo again?
I roped calves.
Wow.
For girls, it's called breakaway. We rope,
okay.
and then the rope comes off the saddle horn.
Yeah, I got you
And
now.
at the time, it was also really, really special, talking about community. Sonny Sykes, who is one of my cousins, founded the rodeo team and the rodeo club at the university and taught it for over 40 years. And so it was really cool for me to be part of that.
Yeah.
And then what's really cool is to see it now. Bubba Miller, who's now the rodeo coach, he and I went to the finals at the same time. So he's a great guy and has continued the program. It's done amazing.
That's odd. See, as long as I've known you for 4 years,
that.
I did not. I had no idea that you were like born and raised here. We need to talk more. You know, this is why you need to get out and know your neighbors. And we'll talk about preferred partners here in a minute. Really awesome chamber networking group that we're a part of. That's why I had Christy on today. But I always like to highlight, the background, and never knew that. Never knew that you were at Sam Houston, and then by far never knew that you were at the rodeo team. And I think that's amazing.
And what's really cool, I mean, even not just that and the family that was here, but I met my husband here. He grew up and was raised here as well, and so it's just. This community is my family.
It's a great place to be, and that's why we came back. And
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, and loving it, and just love the people here. Yesterday I was meeting with some friends here around town, and we talked about it. My good friend Nelson Amaya, in fact, was talking about just how much this community means, and so many other friends, and we mentioned so many people in Huntsville that make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, you rodeoed, you went to school here, and then you have a business here too. You have Climatic Secure Storage. So I want to give you an opportunity just to let us know about that journey. How did that happen, and give you a chance to plug Climatic?
Well, it's nothing I ever grew up imagining doing. My husband's family own the property where Climatic is currently.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of those things you don't wake up one day and say, like, as a kid, man, like, I can't wait to have a storage facility. As a guy now, like, I want to have one.
Well,
not here, but outside of town.
Well,
somewhere.
thank you. I don't want you to be my competition. But anyway, no. But we had my father-in-law had the perfect plot of land. A good friend of his came to him with the idea, and then it just started from there. And then my kids are at school. I was a stay-at-home mom. I have a business degree at Sam. And so it just seemed naturally, I'm like, well, let's help the family. I'll manage it. And just started going to self-storage conferences and learning about the business, and joined the chamber and part of the group that we're going to be talking about in a minute. And literally just grew from there. And it's been an amazing journey. I love what we do. It's really neat to meet the tenants and help them with their current needs and just get to know them on a personal level.
And the good news is for you, and you're always saying, like, Rob, I'm sorry, because whenever we moved a couple of times, you're like, yeah, we just don't have any right now. That's good news, though. That means
good and bad.
But that's
I know.
good, though. It's good to be like a capacity, and and even have a waiting list. And you guys do such great work. That says a lot about your business, not just your business, but your character and the way that you run your business in this community, which is important.
Well, it is important to me, my integrity, and I want to be trustworthy and honest, and hopefully that's what I stand for, and that's hopefully the reputation that I have. But we've been extremely blessed with the tenants and the business. And I think a huge part of that is getting involved in the certain networking groups and building those communities and relationships here in Huntsville.
One of those networking groups, one that I'm a proud member of, and glad you guys let me back in. I left for a while. It was funny when I first joined, and we're going to talk right now about Preferred Partners. It is a networking group, part of the Huntsville-Walker County Chamber of Commerce. It was funny when I first joined because
Yes,
Kyle Bernard was in the group. I was obviously broadcasting for play-by-play for Sam Houston State University, and here I am, some little new young pup coming into town, and trying to get to know people. And I came
Very
in the group.
excited,
I
yes.
was really excited.
Yeah.
We brought this new video platform that I had through my broadcasting business at SHN Sports. We were blessed and privileged to bring that to the kids here at Huntsville. And it was funny, though, because I remember I was all excited talking about Huntsville Hornets. And then I started talking about, and we've got this great opportunity with Sam Houston State and all that. Well, then that evening, I get a very nice phone call.
Very nice.
From a gentleman saying, hey, man, we're so glad you're here. We love you. We love your enthusiasm. But you can't talk about Sam
He
Houston.
hated making that phone call. I do have to say that. I mean, he really did.
Yeah, and the reason I could is because Kyle was there, and Kyle was representing Sam Houston Athletics, with another arm, but it was a marketing arm. And it was so great, though, because, through that I got to know Kyle a little bit, and then we were sad because he moved on, happy for him. Went to UCA, then got the gig, now with the Baylor Bears. Mm-hmm. But I'll never forget that. And it wasn't, you guys have rules in place for a reason because you want your members to know that, like, hey, we're going to market and promote you, and we want to make sure that that's like an exclusive category. So y'all were gracious enough to me to say, hey, we'd love for you to be in, but just focus on Huntsville ISD for now. And it was great, and I appreciated that. And so we did, and, of course, a lot of folks, such as yourself, came on and sponsored those broadcasts. But, it was a lot of fun introduction, to Preferred Partners. Mm-hmm. And it was great because the way you guys so gracefully handled that for me, it wasn't like, you can't be in here because of this. It was like, hey, we want you in here, but
we have to find a little
you have
part.
to find the niche.
We have to find, the section that you can fit in that doesn't touch and overlap on someone else. And that's, you have to show respect to other people that
100%,
way. 100%, yeah. And there's room for all of us, but you have to respect the other people that's in the group.
Well. Sure. And it is a great group. And I'm a part of the group. I'm a part of several groups, but this is the one that meets on Tuesday mornings, 8:15 in the morning. It's not that early, to be honest. I mean, we do this show at 7 o'clock in the morning. So, 8:15, that's like late in the day to me now.
Yeah, well, and I like it. We originally did start at 8, but those that had school-age kids were like, let's make it a little bit later. And so those that can get there, a little before 8 or 8, we were able to visit and socialize. And then we start the meeting at 8:15, and we discuss just events within the community, chamber events, what's going on in each other's businesses, and support each other. And then, of course, eat breakfast. That's always a highlight when people bring it.
Yeah. She just bumped me because I did. She bumped me because I did not bring breakfast when it was my program. I totally forgot.
You're still in the group as long as next time you bring breakfast.
Yeah.
I will say that. No,
I could have DoorDashed it, I guess, but I forgot.
No, it's we just talk about, a good opportunities for each of us for our business to get referrals or leads. Like for me, it would be rentals or selling boxes, that sort of thing. And then we've got others in the groups, of course, that have different needs, and they just voice those. Or if they have a special coming up or an event coming up, then we communicate that, and then we try to support them if we can.
Yeah, and a lot of great members and just a great opportunity to network. And we're looking to grow the group. It's important. There's so much more room for growth, and that's what we like about this group is, we identify and find those niches, to where we need people in there that bring value. And, I love the group, too, because we don't want just someone that's going to just show up, once every 6 months. In fact, you can't do that. There is an attendance policy. It's not like you got to be there every single week. And if something comes up, there's a little bit of grace and flexibility in there. But these groups, such as Preferred Partners, they only work when the members are active and show up because, it's not fair to other members who come every week. We need to build each other and lift each other up. And that's what I always talk about on this show, and why I brought this platform here to Huntsville is because we do want to promote the good and lift each other up. And Preferred Partners is a way to do that. What have you seen? I know you talked about your business, and of course, but just you've been in it for many years now. What have you seen in this group as it's continued to kind of mold and develop over the years?
Well, one, like I said, me personally, it's helped when we opened Climatic with the lease up. It got my name out, and then helped fill those units in my particular case. But there's been others that have received several referrals. I've sent someone to businesses before, like we have Tax Express that's in there. We have McCafferty Electric that's in there. And they receive several referrals within their group. And of course, several others as well.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of opportunities for you as a business owner to get involved. Still a lot of categories that we can absolutely fill. And so if you're interested in being a part of our amazing group, happens every single Tuesday morning, 8:15 a.m., besides the chamber breakfast, by the way.
Yes, we really want to encourage with your membership, you do have to be a chamber member. And then with your participation in this group, you do get to go to the breakfast, which is every third Thursday of the month. And so we didn't want to interfere with that. And so we want to give focus to that week. But the remainder of the weeks throughout the month, we do meet at 8:15 at the chamber. And currently we have about, I want to say 12 to 14 members in our group. And we would like to have 20 to 25 in the group, because like you were saying, the more we have in there, the more that show up, the more that pour into each other, the more you all get out of it.
Yeah, and I got to be careful, like, to start singling out people, because I don't want to leave anybody out.
I'm so sorry.
Because we do have nothing. But we do have so many great members. But I do want to mention Robert Lindeman, because through that group, I developed a really strong friendship with Robert and many others in the group, but especially Robert. He was one of the first. I always say there's 3 people that welcomed me into Huntsville. Robert Lindeman was one of those guys, and he and I have developed a very strong friendship, and we share fellowship together. In fact, saw him a couple of nights ago at the FCA banquet, and that was exciting to be there and to be a part of that. You were there as well.
Yeah, it was a really neat event. And
it's just those kind of things where this community comes together. And Robert and I try to move around a little bit, but now it's funny because I was gone for 10 months and I come right back into the group and I sit right next to Christy, right next to Robert.
You did. I'm like, there's your seat. We saved it for you.
Yeah, I was like, man, this feels like I'm back at home. It's like we went on a 10-month vacation and came back. So, but Christy, such an important group, and we encourage you to be a part of it. Got to be a member of the chamber. You can come as a guest and check it out. Reach out to either Christy or I.
Absolutely.
And we'd love to have you. Send the comments below on this stream, so whenever you see it, you can say, hey, I want to get involved. I'd like to learn more. It's a great way to get your business plugged in. And this is something that I always preach about, that when you join organizations such as the chamber, which I am a huge advocate for joining the chamber, I'm a big believer in that. Whenever you join a community and start a business, you have got to get plugged into your local chamber. I always say, too, you need to be part of a service organization, whether that's Rotary, Lions, or any of those groups. But those are kind of the 2 keys to success for me in business. But you can't just join. Like, you have to join and you have to be active. And that doesn't mean you got to go to every single event, but you need to be seen. And the way to be seen is you go to the events and you participate. Don't just sign a piece of paper and then say, oh, well, I joined and I never got anything out of it. Well, it's because you didn't put anything into it.
I agree. And I think you and I have had this conversation before. I can't refer you if I don't know you personally.
Yeah.
And I need to know you in order to do that. And so that's what this networking group is set up for, is to get to know everybody on a personal level and support their business.
That's what it's all about. Again, preferred partners at the Huntsville-Walker County Chamber of Commerce meeting almost every Tuesday at 8:15 a.m. besides that third Tuesday of the month, just because of the chamber breakfast that happens. But again, a great way to get plugged in. Christy, you're a big advocate for it. And, when I was gone to Fargo, loved the people there, but missed being back in Huntsville, missed our group on Tuesdays. As I said, I'm part of a couple of other groups as well, but this is one that's very special to me in the mornings because it's a great way to get involved, to get active, and to be around good people that just want to give back to the community.
Absolutely. You were missed a lot, so I'm glad you're back.
Well, appreciate it. I missed you guys, and, and that's another thing. Whenever we found out we were having Braylon, you guys just poured into us, and I always say we're 10 lives in debt to Huntsville, and because of people like you, Christy, and the groups that we're involved in. So just comment below. Let us know if you'd like to join. We'd love to see you. Be our guest. You'll get a breakfast. You can learn more, and it'll be a great opportunity to I can't even talk, to network and to come out.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Christy, before we go, any final remarks from you?
No, I would love new guests. I would love for anyone that's interested to come and reach out to one of us and see more information, and just show up on a Tuesday and ask about it.
Come on out, 8:15. It's a good way to get up and get moving every Tuesday morning. Before I let you go, you've already mentioned it, but I'm going to ask you again. I haven't asked you. You brought it up.
Oh, no.
Now I'm going to ask you for the first time. I always ask our guests, especially first-time guests, that come on Good Morning Huntsville. You've been in the community. You're born and raised here. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes it so great for you?
I and I was thinking about this earlier when I was talking about being here. I love going to the grocery store and knowing that I'm going to run into someone and I can see how their day is going, check in on them. I just love the connections that I have and
Yeah, love it. And you're so right. I was at HEB when we first came back, loading up on groceries, looked down the aisle, and just being able to broadcast those kids at HISD for a few years. I mean, that meant the world to me, but, I knew it meant so much to the kids and the parents because they were at that, the platform. They hadn't seen them before on video. And I'll never forget, as soon as we came back, Bridget and I are at HEB, and all of a sudden I see Miss Bum Shelley's mom. Miss Shelley is right there, Bun Shelley, and it says mama. And I went up and gave her, and she gave me the biggest hug, and I gave her the biggest hug. And I was like, this is why I love
This
Huntsville.
is what it's all about, is just going around the corner. I mean, if my truck breaks down, I know that somebody's going to, I don't even have to pick up my phone. Somebody's probably going to drive by and help me.
It's funny you mentioned, it's not funny.
No, it's not. But
This isn't funny, but I say it's funny you mentioned a car breaking down. The situation that I was a part of isn't funny, but the other day, Bridget and I she came out, we were heading back home, and there was a young man that was stalled on the road, and like literally 4 people. We hopped out, a tow truck out of nowhere showed up, and all of a sudden you had like 4 people trying to help this young man in his car. It's sad because he had told us, he's like, I just bought the thing. Well, like a lifter got stuck and the thing was throwing oil. We found out, we're like, dude, this car is hosed, man. Whoever you bought it from, not a good situation.
Yeah.
So we pushed it over into a parking lot. This was like a week ago. I drove by, the car still there, and now there's like a sticker on the car. But it reminded, like a sticker like the police saying like, get this car out of here.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it's like an abandoned vehicle now.
That's awful.
But the reason I brought it up is because every time I pass that, I'm reminded of the generosity of this community, of people helping that young man get that car off the road. And he was going through a tough time. And I hope that he was able to find reliable transportation. But yeah, it's like there's that car, and a week ago, 4 people out of nowhere, not including me, got up and helped them.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I know
about.
no matter where I'm at that somebody's going to be there to help me if I need it.
That's it. Well, Christy Atkins here today with us. And again, appreciate you, Christy, from Climatic Secure Storage. You can check them out online. Great reviews. They'll take care of all your storage needs, moving needs. And also, please come by and see us at the Huntsville-Walker County Chamber of Commerce. Preferred Partners happening every Tuesday. Thanks so much, Christy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. A lot more happening here on Good Morning Huntsville. Stay with us and let us know you're out there. Let us know what you're thankful for. We'll be back in just a few moments. All right, friends, welcome back at it here on Good Morning Huntsville. Great interview there with Christy, getting to catch up with her. She also owns Climatic Secure Storage. Someone on the Facebook group sending in a message earlier saying Christy is awesome, Climatic is great, we've used them. And, I wanted to highlight that, too, because that Tuesday group is a great part of it. I'm in it, full disclosure, and I wanted to promote it, obviously, but I think it's so important. As business owners, you guys know, and here again with Kaye and Rick Boehning of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. I've got that down every time now, just like a gentleman here in town said, don't call me Mr. And for the first 10 times I called him Mr. The 11th time he backhanded me like Chris Rock, Will Smith. And just kidding, he didn't do that. And but I don't call him Mr. anymore because he told me 10 times. So, it's like marketing. It's top of mind. Hammer it home. Eventually it'll stick and people know about it. That's what happened. He kept selling it. So. But Christy, a great interview there, catching up with her. And, marketing is so important. You guys know as business owners with Tomorrow's Promise and, been going well over 20 years now that it's important to get out in the community and network. And that's what you guys do, always active at the chamber and other events. And I just wanted to give you a moment just to mention that, Kaye, about how important it's been for Tomorrow's Promise, to get the word out, even though you guys did have a lot of success when you were really working in the business. But now you get a lot of time to work on the business also, which is important.
Yeah, we've been a member of the Leads group that meets on Thursday. Preferred Partners is Tuesday. We're Thursday. We've done that. We've started going to all the breakfasts at the chamber, and we really started getting out more in the community when we started the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
And also we go to Business After Hours, which I'd like to mention that ours is the next one.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's right. Where are you guys having that? Do you have a location?
We do.
The Katie and Don Walker Education Building.
Oh, that's going to be great. So
Yeah.
5:15, Business After Hours. I call it BAH, B-A-H, BAH. Come on out. So come on out to BAH at 5:15. Rick and I have this sense of humor that you and I just click, man. That's why I was so excited whenever Tomorrow's Promise said, yeah, we'd love to do this. And I was like, yes, I get to hang out with Kaye and I also get to hang out with Rick because Rick and I have a lot of fun stories on ambassador days, and I'm hoping to rejoin Chamber Ambassadors as well. But yeah, it's always great to be at 5:15. So come on out.
We do the ambassadors and go around and thank people for being members. It's just I lost my train of thought.
It's great to be out in the community.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, when we started the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, started getting out in the community more, and I realized how many friends I have out in the business, out in the community and stuff, and it's just been a blast ever since.
And if you're shy, it will teach you to be a little bit more outgoing.
That's right.
Because if you'd taken my teenage self and told her that I'm doing this kind of stuff now, I would have probably crawled underneath my bed or something because I'm very shy.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was speaking to a networking group yesterday and was blessed to have the program yesterday and just talked kind of about my journey a little bit and the whole backstory of IT and sports broadcasting and then, what eventually led us back here to Huntsville. And when I was 18, I kind of got thrown into the fire in business by accident in high school with just teachers were calling me to work on their computers. And before I knew it, I was like, this is a business. It's not just a little thing that I do anymore. And so it had slowly grown. But I remember, being 18 years old and joining the chamber at a young age. And I was scared to death because I was like, none of these people are going to talk to me. I'm young and, what are they? I'm scared. I was shy, which is funny because the more you get out and the more you do things, I'm not telling you got to break out of a shell, but I do believe this. I do believe that in order for us to, and I'm not preaching a sermon here, but I'm going to tell you that God puts talents in our lives for a reason and in our hearts and a vision. Like you guys had the vision for tomorrow's promise, and think of the blessing that's been now for so many families and working families that, not just a place to drop the kids off, but a place for children to learn at a child education facility, not a daycare center. And it's important because I feel like in order for us to step into our calling, we have to step out of our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And I used to have a different attitude. I said, no, be in your comfort zone and excel where you're at. And I think there is some substance to that, but I also think that sometimes we're called to different things and we literally have to step out to step in, if that makes sense.
Oh, I used to walk down the street and I'd be like this, and be afraid to say hi to somebody. And I met Rick and he's like, hi, walking down the street. I'm like, nobody did anything bad to him.
I used to walk down the street and I would shake a lot, and people thought I was the town drunk, and I was just out of alcohol. Just kidding. Not the case. So, anyways, but yeah, I think it's important, to be out, to be active, and joining the chamber, like you were saying. When I was 18, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't want to talk to people. But as when you start doing it more and more, it's like anything. You do get a little more comfortable, and you build a little bit more confidence. And it's so easy in a community like Huntsville because everyone wants you to be successful.
And I have a whole lot more fun now, saying hi and good morning to people and things than the way I used to be.
And one thing that I love, and I said this yesterday in our group, I said Huntsville is a place, and we've just got about 2 more minutes here because I know, and we'll talk about your award before we wrap up as well. But it's great to be in a community. I don't have a problem telling people, hey, I love you. And this community is so compassionate that you will literally meet people in town that'll give you a hug and say, man, I love you. And I think that's great. I think a lot of people need to hear that word sometimes. And I know that's a scary word, and sometimes there's some hurt that's attached to that word, but I'm not talking about it in that sense. I'm talking about it just being compassionate. And Kaye, you always hug people, and you always tell people how much you appreciate them. And you don't know how far that goes to somebody that maybe having a terrible day, and a simple pat on the back or the hug can lift that person to a new level. We don't know what people are going through. Some people, they may be thinking the worst thoughts that they could ever think about themselves, and you going up, giving somebody a hug and saying, hey, I just want you to know I care about you and I love you. You never know. That could change that person's destiny and change the direction that they're heading in.
Yes.
Now, this is something she does. She hugs everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger. I'll shake your hand and tell you you're having.
I gave you a hug
person.
when I came back. And
That's
Rick
true.
was he put his arm like this and kind of did the block thing. And then, I had a black eye because like, get off of me, man. What do you think this is? I'm in Conroe. This isn't Huntsville. And he nudged me in the eye. And I'm just kidding. We love you, Conroe, by the way.
Well, and I also want to say that every book that goes out from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library has Jesus Loves You on it.
That's cool. I love that.
So the child gets a book knowing that somebody cares and loves about them too.
That's great. That is awesome. Before we let you go, blessed to head down to Houston today. Got a big event coming up. Let us know about this event that's happening around lunchtime.
I got honored to be nominated from the SBDC for the Rural Business Owner of the Year, and I won the Houston District Rural Business Owner of the Year award.
That is great, and tremendous honor for you guys, and just the hard work of 20 plus years there, the Small Business Development Center Award.
Well, it's actually 25 years.
That's right. I said
Well,
20
he said
plus.
20
20
plus.
plus. Yeah. Well, we can put
but
25 plus is a little bit more.
25 plus is a lot more.
But what's really, really neat about the award is so many people look down upon child care centers as, we're just kind of down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the pandemic kind of brought us up into more recognition that we are essential and we are needed for the economy to survive. Parents need a place for their children to go. And so this is the first time that a child care center has ever won this kind of award.
That is amazing. And that is a tremendous, tremendous honor. And
Rob, we appreciate you going down there to help support her.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys support the community, and that's the least thing. And, so many other friends here in Huntsville. I know some folks from the chamber, Ray Hernandez going down there as well, and Shannon. And so appreciate their support. And again, it's just like this record that it's that red button that you see that, like back in the day, the Staples are like, that was easy. There's a button that you press every day on this show. And that button is always going to talk about how great and compassionate people are here in Huntsville, Texas. So if you're watching Jerica, North Dakota, and you're thinking one day about moving here to Huntsville, you got to know the culture first.
It's warmer.
It's warmer, but you need to understand the culture first, that you're coming into a community that embraces each other. And we want you here, and we would love to have you here, anybody that's out there. But understand that when you come here, you're going to have to be part of that same culture. And you truly will. And that's something that we identified right away when Bridget and I came, and it was an easy decision to come back to Huntsville, Texas. So
we are glad you're here.
Glad you're here. We love you guys. Again, you can say that in Huntsville. We love you. We appreciate all that you do here in this community. And again, check them out. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. And you can get signed up if you're looking for an excellent place for your child to receive a great education and also learn a lot of great things. So again, Tomorrow's Promise, they are your peeps here in H-Town, in the HTX, Hunts Vegas.
Now, I have a question for you.
What is that?
Did you implement or try out last week's Wednesday Wisdom?
I did, and you are reading my mind, because every Wednesday we have Wednesday's Wisdom brought to you by Kaye Boehning. What is the Wednesday Wisdom last week was for Bridget and I to go out on a date and to not talk about Braylon. We actually had two opportunities because you brought it up. She spoke it into existence, so it happened. Bridget and I hadn't only been on one date since we had Braylon. Well, we ended up going to two things. Last week, we were fortunate to – I can't even remember. My short-term memory is so bad.
But you were at the Cafe Texan.
We were at the Cafe Texan, that's right. And appreciate Deneen Thompson coming in and watching Braylon, and appreciate that very much. So we went on the way there. It was funny because we did say something, and we both caught ourselves like, nope, not going to talk about it. And, of course, when we got to the event, some people asked questions, how's your little one doing? So we didn't mention it there. But whenever it was just she and I in a private talking setting, we did not. And it did. It makes you it brings back in that feeling of closeness. And then we went to the FCA banquet a couple of nights ago, and our good friend Sally Hosey came, and her husband Robert, and watched Braylon. And again, we tried not to talk about Braylon, not because we were trying to forget about her, but as you said, it's so important in a relationship that you're around your children so much that you need that time alone to kind of reconnect, because what else are you going to talk about? You always talk about your kids, and you were so right. And now that's on the top of my mind every time. Even when Braylon is around us, it's on the top of my mind, thinking about, we love our daughter, obviously. We care about her tremendously, but I also care about the relationship between Bridget and I want to make sure that remains solid because I love her very much. What's the Wednesday Wisdom today, Kaye?
Well, today's is going to be business related because, we did win this award. So when my oldest son was about 3.5, I started giving him an allowance. And the thing was, you've seen these children in Walmart, mommy, buy me this, buy me this, buy me this. So I started giving him an allowance. He got $1 a week. And
you have to remember, this was 30 years ago.
Yes.
That's a lot of cheeseburgers back then. Nowadays, it's half a cheeseburger.
So you might have to adjust it for inflation. But I gave him $1 a week, and I would purposely take him down the toy aisle. I'd tell him when we're done getting what we need to get, then I will take you down the toy aisle and let you see what there is to see. Well, he loved Hot Wheels cars, and he loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He could buy a Hot Wheel car for $1, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were $4.76. Now, I taught him at the age of 3 to start paying attention to the first number. So he knew he could buy the Hot Wheels car, or he could save up his money for a couple of times, 4, and buy a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And so we'd take him down, and I was like, do you want to spend your money? You know, you have this much money saved up. Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to buy a turtle? Do you want to buy something else? You know, kind of thing. But that eliminated all the arguments or any discussions about, I want this, Mommy, I want this, you know, the crying and throwing a fit, because he had his money for him to spend. And it also taught him to save, because we've got a whole collection of Hot Wheel cars at my house, but we also have a whole collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Because of him and the allowance.
Yes, and he would save up for, you know, it took him a month, but he would pick out a turtle that he wanted, and he would wait and save up that money. And like I said, I took him every week and tempted him, and it taught him to delay gratification.
That's good.
And learn to save. And one time he found a pedal car he wanted. Well, that thing was $50. And so I told him, I said, if you save up half, I'll spend the other half and buy it. That boy waited until he had saved up $25 to buy that pedal car. Well, when I went back to buy the pedal car, it was $76.
So you had to come up with
Apparently it was on sale when I first showed it to him, or he first saw it. But he saved up and bought that pedal car, rode that thing forever. But like I said, it taught him how to save. It taught him how to look at something and budget, and there was all these things he wanted and so forth. And now he's got a job. First thing out, with the first job he had, he started saving money.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, he's got a 401k and everything, and is going to be set.
I think that's the Wednesday wisdom today from Miss Kaye Boehning. You know, the delayed gratification is so important, because we live in a society today to where, especially these things, Amazon, boom, boom, Amazon, buy it now. Why do you think they have buy it now button? No longer add to cart, it's there, but buy it now. You click one button, that product will be at your house either that night or first thing in the morning. And you got to delay that, because a lot of this junk we don't need.
You need to teach your children about finances. My daddy taught me. I had $10,000 saved by the time I graduated high school, and I was 17 when I graduated high school. And that was back at $3.10 an hour. But I made like $60 a week working at the grocery store. I spent $15 and put the rest in savings. I spent $10 to put gas in my car. That's back when they got 9 miles to the gallon.
Made them out of pure steel.
It was a Sherman tank.
Kryptonite. You had to avoid. You had to find kryptonite to run the car back then.
And I spent $5 on myself. And, you know, I had a goal that I wanted to try to get $10,000 by the time I graduated high school, and I made it. I babysit and different things like that.
This was 50 years ago.
It's been a day or two. No, it was not 50 years ago.
Oh, man.
You need to work on your math.
Doghouse is opening up here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville.
But
so that black van's coming by, Rick, to get you again, by the way.
If you were not fortunate enough to have a father like mine that taught me these things, and you don't know what to do with your budgets or your finances, there's plenty of people out there. There's like Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover. There's Crown Financial Services. There's podcasts. You can learn, no matter how old you are, even Rick's age, how to budget your money and how to save.
Honey, can you help me learn how to save?
I've got $18 to my name.
But you would be surprised the number of 60-year-old people that don't have $100 to their name.
Wow. I'm 64.
Yeah. So.
Do you have $100 to your name?
Not on me, no.
But, you know, it's not too late to learn.
It is. It's never too late, and that's a really good Wednesday wisdom. Take that to heart today, because, and I know some people are saying, hey, I'm straight. You know, here's the thing, too, and we'll wrap up here in just briefly, because we got to get rolling. Appreciate everybody joining us here today. Rick and Kaye Boehning of tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools here with us. We appreciate them and what they do in the community, being one of our Foundation 5 sponsors. I was talking to a mentor of mine in the broadcasting world, and I won't say the name, but there's a very prominent broadcaster now that broadcasts at the national level. and he used to be in Central Texas, and he was doing sideline reporting for the San Antonio Spurs at one point. He had a nice little gig lined up there. But even those gigs, you would think in the NBA sideline reporting, you'd make really good money. I mean, you'll make fair money, but it's not like good money to where maybe you could even support your family. I knew a guy that was a public address announcer, and he had a second job, and he was in the NBA, and he had a second job because as a PA announcer in the NBA didn't pay enough to take care of his family. So you see these things sometimes, and you think, man, these people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not the case. But this gentleman he rode with a gentleman that was a broadcaster in the NBA every day, and so they would ride to the games together. And this guy had said, I feel like God has put on my heart that if I would just give 10% in tithing, that he's going to open up a door for me, because he had been kind of stagnant. And so, the guy that I know, my mentor, was driving him, said, well, if that's what you feel, do it. That's obviously something's happening. He started that act of faith, and that's really what it comes down to. I'm not telling you got to give 10% of finances to an organization, but I think it is important. It's an act of faith. And through that, this broadcaster ended up becoming the voice of a Major League Baseball team. I mean, literally weeks later. And he wasn't even on a list to be considered for this job. He applied for it. He had zero TV experience in that realm. Not only did he get the gig there, but now he is a very prominent broadcaster on TNT and TBS and those networks, especially during the NBA Finals or the NBA playoffs. He was able to call several World Series games on television. And so it's just tremendous because that act of faith that he had in tithing, and that's what it kind of goes down to, talking about being fiscally responsible. And for those of us that are believers, that is something that, some people will say that's not, well, that's because you're getting brainwashed to give people money. No, it's an act of faith because we know that will go to further the kingdom. And that's what it's about. It's an act of faith. And when you have that faith, certain things open up. And so, saving money is important.
That's very true, because I was taught to give 10% to the church and save 10%.
And give 70% to Rick, right? That's what he thinks.
It's more like the other way around.
Yeah.
But, my dad always said, it's not how much you make, it's what you do with it.
This is true.
And, he knew people and watched, he had two friends, and both of them were sanitation workers. They both made the same amount of money. One always took vacations and drove brand new cars. The other one lived very modestly. Now, the other one that spent all of his money is basically surviving on Social Security. The other one is taking trips and living high on the hog because he invested his money.
Yeah.
So
a little bit of Wednesday wisdom for you today, and different things in this community, ways to lift each other up, and that's what we're all about. Rick, Kaye, thank y'all so much. Looking forward to the award coming up here in a little bit. We're going to go down there with you and celebrate the success of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. So want to remind you, support our local businesses such as Tomorrow's Promise. They are the ones that help lift this community up. And Rick, appreciate you as always being here. Glad we got you back after that quick FBI IRS agent thing happened. But we got him back, and Rick is here with us, and we'll be back on next week as well. More show coming up. Of course, the rest of this week, you'll have to tune in to hear what that's about. Also, make sure to follow us on the Hello Huntsville Facebook page. Thank you, by the way, to the community. Over 1,200 followers now as we're continuing to grow, and we're believing that by the end of this month, we'll be at 2,000 followers. We don't say that because we want numbers to be big. We just want the reach to be big because we live in a big, generous community, and we want to be able to spread the good news of what's happening here in Huntsville. Friends, until next time, I end every broadcast reminding you today and this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Good morning, Huntsville, and God bless. We'll see you back here at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Good night.